I remember the times of Stephen Hill. And those were some great fucking times. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. That's a great statement. I'm glad there was no question to it. I will say this. I think it goes back to the thing that we talked about before in terms of artist development and artist preparation.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's some the artists of now perform differently and need different things on stage than the artists earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so I think that may be some of the thing you're noticing. Yeah. I've not missed a show. I still go and I still stand up and I love every show. I think this past year was one of the best ones ever. And what needs to be pointed out, and I don't think gets enough notice, is the BET Awards of 2020 COVID set the blueprint for how every award show did. No one knew how to do award shows when COVID came around.
Yeah.
No one. Like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And Connie Orlando and Jesse Collins and Dion Harmon. I was supposed to say Dion Nicole Harmon because that's what her Dion, like, it's like Chuck Berry playing the guitar. Like if you're now and you like, well, that's there's nothing special about that, but it was pioneering.
For then.
Like
exactly.
It was like no one
of...
had done that before.
Yep.
And so the BET Awards 2020, if you look back, it had Alicia Keys out there, and it was the George Floyd year as well.
Yep.
My man, Lil Baby laying down, like, and was able to keep you captured with no audience.
Mm-hmm.
With no audience. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened for the next year. BET Awards 2021 was the first one to give you the little cocktail setting, like the look for the cocktail tables.
Yeah.
And now, what did the Grammys have this year?
Oh yeah.
What did the Grammys have this year? Cocktail, the little cocktails tables around.
Mm-hmm.
So I always want to shout because I don't think I get enough credit for being kind of the Chuck Berry coming out of COVID when no one knew what to do.
I don't know if and speaking of just times changing and maybe the artists, the people, in terms of how they view things, it just feels like the reverence of a thing is just different now. Like I remember like when the BET Awards was coming up, like it was a frenzy for all. You know what I mean? There wasn't going to be anybody missing at the BET Awards. It wasn't going to be anybody like the BET. Nah, I'm good on that one. I'm going to just, wasn't no really sitting at home. Like the top of the top were at the BET Awards in my time, in my case.
Yes. Also in your time. And I don't think it's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. I forget what I'm trying to say, but you'll understand when I say it. BET was also involved daily in how much you got exposure.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
those things are connected.
Got you. I
remember making some deals like, we really would love to have you at the show. A video play for this art.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Because we're building this show, these are the things we're going to do. And I think that's I'll use the word lever. There was leverage. There was a negotiating.
It was a great
tool.
give and take.
There was a great give.
Absolutely.
There was a great give and take, and I think it's still true and they know we want you to look good. Like they know everybody. We're into making this, and it's a thing. It's a thing that continues with the BET Awards. You want to make things look as best as they possibly can.
Yeah.
I think the Hip Hop Awards gets overlooked, is because the idea was to make hip hop shine, make something.
Mm-hmm.
It's grimy, shine as well, and look spectacular. Yeah.
Do you, as you say that, I love that you said that because that makes a whole lot of sense. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like, as we have our YouTube and our Instagram and all these things that now fuel our content. Do you feel like we are still missing that
Video.
one thing, that one show, that one piece, that 106 in Park that, you know, kind of that shaped the childhoods, that shaped the careers, that shaped and brought everybody together in this one place?
So I miss it, but again, once again, I must remind you I'm older. I respect that there's a generation whose discovery of music is very different than what I or we did, right? We enjoyed having curated music. We enjoyed listening to the radio and hearing what the new thing was. We enjoyed watching Soul Train and seeing what the new dance is. We enjoyed watching 106 in Park and then going to school and sharing that thing. I think the DSPs, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, all the rest of them, and YouTube made it so folks don't want to be curated to. They want to be able to make the discovery themselves and go, hey, this is what I discovered. Do you like it too? And then things got shared, right? I think the internet and that approach is a way that this generation enjoys it, where we loved having that central core thing. We loved being able to talk about that performance. I think award shows still do that. I love the chatter that existed around the Super Bowl halftime show this year. I loved all of the conversation around it. Got a shout out once again, produced by Jesse and Dion.
Jesse, yeah.
Jesse and Dion, because I still like things that unite folks. And the thing about that, it unites them, and then people can go over and have their own opinions, and everybody's got their own TikTok video. But in terms of discovery of music and new music, folks like it's hard. Terrestrial radio is still around, but it's much more of a I want to discover it. I'm going to go through things myself.
But don't you think we deserve alternatives, right? Because we still have Jimmy Kimmel.
Yes.
We still have Fallon, but we have nothing for the Black community or for urban music. And we, you got to roll the dice to see who's going to get on one of those shows. Right. So, but before we've had
At our place.
So I completely understand and respect what you're saying. I just think that if those shows can still exist, why can't ours? Why can't an Arsenio Hall still exist? Why can't a 106 in Park still exist? Or a Soul Train? Or yes, the times are changing. So yes, the newer versions of them, right? It's coming along. But Johnny Carson, Jimmy Fallon now. It's just that, you know what I mean? It's this,
and those
the same
shows
thing.
haven't changed much.
Yeah, but they're not music based, right? There's a music performance on it. I think that, and I think
that's what I'm saying. Like I'm saying something.
What's the
that,
adjustment?
Like we don't have
for
anything
us?
where in the space, honestly, that an urban artist, a new R&B artist, a new hip hop artist, a new actor.
So I'm going to argue for Questlove because that show has had a few artists that I was surprised, and I know he's kind of pushing buttons behind trying to get that done.
What is that?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's Fallon show, Jimmy Fallon, Tonight Show.
Okay.
The roots are the roots of the band.
No, I get it,
Right.
but it's not our show.
That's true.
And it's not his show.
I think
and
as soon as
because I was about to say, what show are you talking about?
Yeah.
Oh no,
And
sorry,
then when you said it was
sorry.
no, and I
Roots.
realized that they're the band for
Right.
his show. That's the difference between having 106 in Park,
Yes.
or having Arsenio Hall.
Big difference.
You know what I mean?
I think as soon as someone finds that there's money to be made in having a new Arsenio Hall will come back. I just don't think, and especially in this climate right now, I don't see someone turning a Tonight-like show. And let's be good. It's really on the Tonight Show and Saturday Night Live, right? Those feel like the only places. And if you ask record folks, SNL moves the needle every once in a while.
Right.
It's a great performance. One of those other shows will move the needle, but it's
Right.
much more for additional exposure. I think as soon as someone believes that Arsenio Hall or the new Arsenio Hall or I'm trying to think of his name, is going to be better than Colbert will be out. But until then, until then, it's not going to happen. It's going back to the money. It's the same thing that knocked the music people out of music. You're going to keep the money. You got to follow the money. Got to follow the money.
We got to figure that out, Stephen.
I look forward to it. I look forward to being part of it. I look forward to being part of it.
We just have to continue to create platforms where we can give exposure to our talent.
Yes.
Because now you got to be the 1% of the 1%
to get on
any of their platforms.
Absolutely.
So we have to continue to create our own.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's a big reason why we wanted you here too, just for your knowledge of it, and for to give the insight to young creators that are out there, and for us, for us to think of new things that we want to do. I mean, we talked about other stuff, before we start filming, but we have to continue to create it.
I think that's right. And creators, it sounds corny, but like, be true to yourself. There's going to be no better you than you. You may get influenced by someone else, but like, just keep doing it. Look, there's no platform where you can curate like that, but my goodness, there's so many artists who've made it big and never been on one of those platforms, or never had a platform move for them, and can sell out. I mean, like right now, I'm thinking of a Sabrina Claudio, right, who's never really had a huge hit record, but like has a rabid fan base who will come out, and she's curated it through the internet in ways that I don't understand how to use TikTok to make a record move. I don't. It's it's a new thing that, it's like my grandmother trying to use the remote, right? It's a different era. But I do love that people can use YouTube and like keep putting things on YouTube, keep putting things up on TikTok, keep trying to get it out there. I think the turn is when one of these labels take interest in you, and you start popping. Concentrate less on the popping and more, and it's so hard for a young person to do, especially when the money starts coming in. But what does 3 years down the line look like? Who can I get with who can teach me artist development? Who can I like what? And it's so hard when you're young and you have nothing. You put this thing out and people like it. To look that far, you've got to have great counsel for that.
Yeah.
And so. Yeah, I try to get frustrated, but I see these TikTok artists who come along, and they may have something really catchy, and then I'm like, okay, well, let me go watch them perform live, and I'm like, and they're not even working on it. They just realize they're there. They realize that they walk back and forth and say the lyrics, they can get the check and go home. And they believe it can. That's going to keep them going,
right, until they don't get booked anymore.
Don't get booked. I mean, and live music is doing better than it ever has before, right? And I think there's a false sense of security in the longevity when, TikTok rapper can go out and get there and get a check for a while and not look at the future. I said this once before. You do have the eye of the tiger or eye of the TikTok. You like just
Shit.
right. Eye of the tiger means you're going to get ready for 3 years from now. You're preparing